Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons where we try and take a darker tone with everything we do here. So if you like edgier kind of content, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. We're doing a huge push to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We can't do that without you. So if you've been here before, if you like what you saw, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. And a big thank you to our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We love what you guys do. And then finally, our last shout out, our good friends at Dice Legion. Use the promo code SINISTER and get 10% off all of your purchases. The link to both the Patreon and Dice Legion is in our description. Definitely check them out. And without further ado, we're going to jump into the Peace Cleric. The Peace Domain Cleric comes to us from Tashas Cauldron of Everything. This is a very unique circumstance because you're a devout cleric of a deity of peace, yet you're in a circumstance where you definitely will have to fight. So you really have to understand that peace as a concept here might not just be always avoiding conflict, but it might more so be around the idea of preventing large-scale conflict and kind of minimizing the implements of something that's coming. If a war is going to happen, you want to minimize casualties and make sure not as many people pass in the circumstances. That's kind of what I think a Peace Domain Cleric is. I don't exactly think that you're meant to be not ever doing offensive attacks or anything like that. I think that's kind of a real strong restriction. But if you're willing to go the distance for it, I commend you. That's a very hard path to run through. But I think you can do a lot of creative things with it. When you join the Peace Domain as a cleric, you're going to get two abilities right from level 1. The first one being Implement of Peace. When you choose this domain at first level, you gain proficiency in either insight, performance, or persuasion. Your choice. Depending on what you've already picked already, you might want to balance that out. Persuasion, obviously a very powerful tool. If you're a Peace Domain Cleric, you kind of want to use that. Insight is really going to be your bread and butter because it's a great way to discover the intentions of people and how they really feel about certain subject matters. And it's wisdom based, so it will be high for you anyway. The second ability you get is Emboldening Bond. Starting at first level, you can forge an empowering bond among people who are at peace with one another. As an action, you can choose a number of willing creatures within 30 feet of you that can include yourself, equal to your proficiency bonus. You create a magical bond among them for 10 minutes or until you use this feature again. While any bonded creature is within 30 feet of another, the creature can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw it makes. Each creature can add the d4 no more than once per turn. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Now, understand this lasts for 10 minutes. Depending on how you're moving in a sequence of multiple combats, you can get a couple of combats out of this. You do have to move quickly in and out of them, but 10 minutes can be a long time. You can roll that d4 only once per turn. So, if you are using it early on, most of the time it's going to be your attack roll, especially early game when you're level 1, level 2. Attacks mean everything. Missing an attack can mean whether or not you end up taking the enemy down or not, because it can be very, very difficult, those early level combats, if you're fighting multiple enemies. So every roll counts. Saving throw bonus is going to get better the later towards the end or middle of campaigns when you fight more spellcasters and things like that. They're going to do regular things. Also, an ability check. Keep in mind, you can use this just to navigate traps and try and get through tight areas where adventuring is more so required. And considering you can use this amount of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest, this is a big buff that you can use throughout the game, and it's not a concentration. At second level, you gain access to your Channel Divinity, Balm of Peace. You can use your Channel Divinity to make your very presence a soothing balm. As an action, you can move up to your speed without provoking opportunity attacks, and when you move within 5 feet of any other creature during this action, you could restore a number of hit points to that creature equal to 2d6 plus your wisdom modifier. A creature can receive this healing only once whenever you take this action. This is very strong, especially when you get it. 2d6 plus your wisdom modifier at second level can go to a maximum of 15, which is pretty high considering you're at second level. Understand, you can move up to your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So when you do so, the goal of this ability is to walk by as many of your party members as you can at a time. It's when you move within 5 feet of any other creature during this action. So you just got to get close enough to them to hit those points and restore that amount of health to them in one turn. Depending on how many party members you have, the size of your party, this can vary in how strong it can be, but rest assured, at second level, that is a very big heal for you. At higher levels, it's not going to be so much, but if you can get yourself in a good place in between your casters and your melee fighters, considering you're going to have medium armor and a shield, you can just kind of jump between a bunch of them and help this just to mitigate some of the damage they take on each turn. At 6th level, you're going to get Protective Bond. The bond you forge between people helps them protect each other. When a creature affected by your emboldening bond feature is about to take damage, a second bonded creature within 30 feet of the first can use its reaction to teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the first creature. The second creature then takes all the damage instead. This is a crazy big buff that really is reliant on the team that you have. Say you emboldening bonded a sorcerer, and you have a paladin in the party at full health, and the sorcerer's about to get hit while they're channeling something that's really, really important to keep up. This is where you use that ability. It's dependent on whoever is bonded to make that kind of sacrifice for each other, but that is a pretty hefty sacrifice, all things considered. But sometimes you can use it just to get out of danger. Say that frontliner is insanely low and completely surrounded, nowhere to go, and then someone in the back line gets hit with an arrow. He can take that damage if he'll survive it and then get out of a dangerous scenario. It can be used defensively and offensively, or you can just go and just punch one of your party members in order to make it happen. It's a little crude, but sometimes you have to do whatever it takes to gain the serenity of protecting your ally. And that's a cool new concept that gives you a lot of out-of-the-box thinking to implement. At 8th level, you're going to get Potent Spellcasting, which is going to give you the ability to add your Wisdom modifier to any damage you deal with a Cleric cantrip, which is a big bonus because now you're doing, like, if you're using Toll of the Dead, you can do, 1d12, coming up on 2d12 soon, plus your Wisdom modifier, which can be huge. Definitely take that into consideration. You're not meant to be using martial weapons. You don't have heavy armor, so you are more of a caster cleric with this subclass anyway. So it really helps to benefit you in that kind of a mindset. At 17th level, you gain the final piece domain cleric ability, Expansive Bond. The benefits of your emboldening bond and protective bond features now work when the creatures are within 60 feet of each other. Moreover, when a creature uses protective bond to take someone else's damage, that creature has resistance to that damage. This makes protective bond significantly better. Again, it's a very, very unique circumstance to use protective bond, but it can save yourself or another ally, depending on what you want to do. And the mentality is that you're bringing about this great trust and an inner circle between your party, that they can just rely on each other, and everyone's constantly saving and looking out for each other and making these sacrifices for each other. And that helps to build out a really strong group that really lovingly cares for each other. And that kind of a mentality that's kind of hidden in the subtext really greatly reflects what a peace domain cleric really should be about, which is bringing about that idea to everyone they encounter, that let's sacrifice for each other so we can all survive, so we can get through this together. And that subtle little notion is listed, hidden in between the words in all of their abilities, and I think that's just masterfully written. Our final thoughts on the wonderful Peace Domain Cleric is that it is super strong. As a defensive supportive character class, it is amazingly powerful. It gives you all the benefits of the incredibly awesome generic base cleric that can basically do anything, and this great incentive to kind of follow this unique team building kind of mentality. It's strong, it's super defensive, super supportive. There's stuff for adventuring, there's stuff for combat, there's stuff to protect others, there's a big buff for a lot of people. Everything you have is there. There's not really anything I can say that's bad about it outside of the fact that I expect to be healing and casting defensive things for everyone else. That being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. It really means a lot to the video and the channel. If you sit through the whole thing, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Again, we're pushing for 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we cannot do that without your support. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. A big thank you to our good friends at Dice Legion. Again, use the promo code Sinister, get 10% off all of your purchases. The link for both of those is in the description, and thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.